Good day, champions. Today, I want to talk to you about something that could shift your entire perspective on purpose, identity, and success. It's a simple but profound principle. Never tell people what you do. I know that sounds strange in a world where everyone is trying to brand themselves, sell themselves, and shout their titles from the rooftops, but hear me out. Who you are is far greater than what you do. Before you ever had a title, a job, or a career, you had an identity. The world teaches us to introduce ourselves by our occupations. I'm a doctor, I'm an engineer, I'm an entrepreneur, as if that's the full picture of who we are. But the truth is, your occupation is just an expression of your skills, not a reflection of your essence. Think about it. If your job was taken away tomorrow, who would you be? If your business failed, if your position was stripped, would you still see value in yourself? For many, the answer is unsettling. That's because we've been conditioned to believe that our worth is tied to what we do, but that's a dangerous lie. Your identity isn't built on your output, it's built on your existence. You had value the day you were born, before you ever achieved a single thing. When you allow your occupation to define you, you limit your potential. A job is temporary, careers shift, markets change, but your identity, that's constant. It's the foundation on which everything else should be built. Purpose flows from identity, not the other way around. Purpose answers the question, why am I here? And that can never be confined to a single job title. Look at the most impactful people in history. They weren't defined by what they did, but by who they were. Think of leaders, visionaries, and change makers. Their identities carried more weight than their positions. Their influence wasn't in their title, but in their character, their passion, and their purpose. When you know who you are, what you do becomes a tool, not a definition. It becomes an extension of your purpose, not the core of your being. And here's the beautiful part. When your identity is secure, you can walk away from positions, change careers, or even fail without losing yourself, because who you are remains untouched. So never let what you do become who you are. Stand firm in your identity first, and let your occupation be merely one of the many ways you express your true self. Purpose is the reason you exist. Position is just where you happen to be right now. The problem is, many people confuse the two. They think their title, their job, or their status defines their value. But positions can change in an instant. Companies downsize, markets crash, people get replaced. Purpose, on the other hand, is eternal. It doesn't shift with circumstances, and it isn't dependent on external validation. It's the core reason you're here, and it transcends any position you hold. When you live focused on your position, your self-worth rises and falls based on where you stand. When you're promoted, you feel important. When you're overlooked, you feel invisible. But when you live guided by purpose, you become unshakable. Purpose gives you direction no matter where you are or what you're doing. It's not about the title on your business card. It's about the impact you're making. You can have a high position and still lack purpose. That's why you see CEOs who feel empty, celebrities who are miserable, or wealthy people who are unfulfilled. They climb the ladder of success only to realize it was leaning against the wrong wall. Position might bring temporary recognition, but purpose brings lasting fulfillment. And here's the truth. Purpose will take you further than any position ever could. Positions come with limits. They're confined by job descriptions, organizational charts, and external expectations. But purpose breaks through those boundaries. It allows you to influence people, create change, and leave a legacy, regardless of where you are. Think about it. Someone cleaning hospital floors might think they're in a low position, but if they see their purpose as creating a clean and safe environment for patients to heal, suddenly that task carries deep meaning. On the other hand, a doctor with a high title but no sense of purpose might go through the motions, treating patients like numbers instead of lives. Purpose elevates whatever you do. It transforms ordinary tasks into extraordinary opportunities. It turns work into service, jobs into missions, and careers into callings. When you understand this, you stop chasing titles and start living intentionally. You realize that no position is too small when driven by a great purpose, and no position is great enough if it lacks purpose. That's the key to lasting fulfillment, not where you stand, but why you stand there. There's something incredibly powerful about what's hidden. In a world obsessed with exposure, where people feel the need to announce every move, every plan, every success, the true power often lies in mystery. What people can't see, they can't criticize, control, or corrupt. It's in the hidden places that the most valuable things are formed. Diamonds develop under intense pressure, deep beneath the Earth's surface, away from sight. Seeds grow underground in darkness before they ever break through the soil. Even a baby forms in the secret place of the womb before entering the world. Mystery protects potential. When you reveal too much, too soon, you expose fragile ideas and dreams to the harsh opinions and judgments of others. And not everyone has the vision to see what you see. Some will project their fears onto your plans, others will envy your ambition, and some might even attempt to sabotage what you're building. But when you keep things concealed, you give your ideas the space and safety to grow strong. There's also power in being unpredictable. When people can't figure you out, they can't limit you. They can't box you in or set expectations around what you're capable of. Mystery keeps you in control. It allows you to move silently, to develop, to prepare, and to strategize without interference. And when the results finally show, they speak louder than any explanation ever could. But it's not just about protecting dreams from others, it's also about protecting them from yourself. Sometimes, speaking too soon creates a false sense of accomplishment. Talking about plans can trick the brain into feeling as though the work is already done, leading to complacency. But when you hold on to that mystery, when you keep the vision close to your chest, it fuels the internal drive to actually bring it to life. Mystery also cultivates curiosity. People are naturally drawn to what they don't understand. When you don't reveal everything, you create intrigue. You invite people to lean in, to watch, to wonder. And when the right moment comes, your results won't just surprise them, they'll captivate them. Not everything needs to be broadcast. Some things are sacred in their secrecy. Some visions are too delicate to be shared in their early stages. So there's wisdom in restraint, in knowing when to speak and when to stay silent, when to reveal and when to remain hidden. Because often what's developing in the dark is what will shine the brightest when it finally comes to light. A tree doesn't need to announce that it's bearing fruit. It simply grows, produces, and eventually people take notice. They come not because the tree made noise, but because of what it offers. The fruit speaks for itself. In the same way, your work, your results, and the impact you create should be louder than your words. We live in a time where people talk more than they act, boasting about plans, exaggerating achievements, and seeking validation through empty noise. But real value doesn't need a microphone, it needs results. When you focus on producing fruit, on doing the work, honing your craft, and staying consistent, you naturally attract attention without even trying. People will recognize excellence. They'll see dedication, and they'll come not because you told them to, but because your results pulled them in. It's easy to talk about what you're going to do. It's easy to make promises and paint big pictures with words, but talk is cheap. It's the fruit that validates the tree, just like it's your results that validate your efforts. Think about it. When someone consistently delivers, their reputation grows without them having to advertise. They become known for their work, for their excellence, for their integrity. On the other hand, someone who constantly talks but never produces eventually loses credibility. People stop listening because there's no substance backing the words. That's the difference between noise and impact. Noise fades, but impact lingers. There's also humility in letting your fruit do the talking. It shows confidence not in your ability to boast, but in your ability to produce. It shifts the focus from ego to service, because ultimately, the fruit isn't for the tree, it's for others. The purpose of a tree's fruit is to nourish, to provide, to serve. Similarly, the results of your work should benefit others, create value, and leave a positive impact. When you let your actions speak louder than your words, you create a legacy rooted in substance, not in noise. You become known not for what you said you would do, but for what you actually did. And that kind of reputation carries weight. It opens doors, builds trust, and creates opportunities that talking alone never could. So focus on the fruit, keep working in silence, stay consistent, and let the results speak when the time is right. Because in the end, it's not the noise that people remember, it's the nourishment they received from the fruit you produced. Labels are limiting. The moment someone labels you, they confine you to a box, a set of expectations and assumptions that often have little to do with your true potential. It's a subtle danger because labels seem harmless at first. She's a writer, or he's just a mechanic, or they're an artist. But behind every label is an invisible boundary, one that tells you and the world, this is all you are. And over time, if you're not careful, you start living within that boundary, shrinking your potential to fit someone else's definition of you. The danger with labels is that they oversimplify complex beings. People are multidimensional, filled with hidden talents, evolving dreams, and untapped abilities. But a label freezes you in time, defining you by a single role, skill, or moment. It ignores your growth, your journey, and your possibilities. It's like calling a caterpillar just a worm, ignoring the butterfly it's destined to become. The worst part is, we often start to internalize these labels. When someone tells you, you're not leadership material or just a creative without business sense, it plants a seed of doubt. That doubt can grow into self-imposed limitations, leading you to avoid opportunities that don't fit the label you've been assigned. You start editing yourself, filtering your potential to match the narrow view others have placed on you. But here's the truth. No label can fully capture who you are or what you're capable of. You're more than your job title, more than your past mistakes, more than your current situation. You might be a teacher, but you're also a leader, a mentor, an innovator. You might be an athlete, but perhaps you're also an entrepreneur in the making, or an artist waiting to be discovered. Labels blind people to the full picture, and sometimes they blind you too. Labels can also lead to missed opportunities. When people think they know what you do and who you are, they might overlook you for roles or experiences that don't fit the label they attach to you. They might never consider you for leadership if they only see you as a technician, or they might never see your strategic mind if they've labeled you as just a creative. To break free from labels, you have to stop announcing yourself based on roles and titles. Let your actions and your results reveal who you are. Surprise people, show them dimensions of yourself they never expected, and most importantly, refuse to believe that any one label can define you. Because the truth is, you were never meant to fit into a box. You were meant to break out of it, to evolve, to expand, and to become more than anyone ever imagined. So shed the labels, step into your full identity, and show the world that you are far too complex, too dynamic, and too powerful to be defined by a single word. One of the most dangerous traps people fall into is confusing their assignment with their identity. Your assignment is what you do. It's the role you play, the tasks you complete, the job you hold. But your identity is who you are at your core, independent of titles, positions, or achievements. The problem arises when people let their assignments define their sense of self, tying their worth and purpose to roles that were only meant to be temporary. Think about it. A doctor may see their entire identity wrapped up in their profession. But what happens if they can no longer practice medicine? Does their value diminish? A business owner may pour their whole being into their company, but if the business fails, do they lose who they are? This is the danger of merging assignment with identity. It creates fragile self-worth, easily shaken by circumstances beyond your control. Assignments change, seasons shift. You might be called to one role today and a completely different one tomorrow, but if your identity is rooted in the assignment rather than your essence, you'll struggle every time life redirects you. You'll cling to titles and positions, fearing what it says about you if they're taken away. But when you understand that your assignment is just a vehicle, one of many ways to express your deeper purpose, you can navigate change with confidence and peace. There's freedom in knowing that who you are isn't tied to what you do. You're not your job title. You're not your career path. You're not even your successes or failures. You are something deeper, defined by your values, your character, your passions, and your unique purpose. The assignment is just how you live that out in a given moment. This distinction also prevents burnout. When people equate identity with assignment, they often overextend themselves, pushing to prove their worth through endless achievements. But when you know your assignment is just a role, not your entire being, You can step back when needed, pivot when called, and rest without guilt. It also helps you navigate transitions. Many people struggle when they retire, lose a job, or shift careers because they feel like they're losing themselves. But if you see the assignment as temporary, you can embrace new roles without feeling like you're starting over. You're just expressing the same identity in a different way. The truth is, your identity is the constant. It's the anchor that holds steady as life circumstances ebb and flow. Assignments will come and go, but who you are remains. When you live from that understanding, you become adaptable, resilient, and grounded, no matter where life takes you. Vision is fragile in its early stages. It starts as a seed, small, delicate, and vulnerable to external forces that can crush it before it even has a chance to grow. That's why guarding your vision is so important. When you first receive an idea, a dream, or a sense of purpose, it's tempting to share it with the world right away. You want others to see what you see, to believe in it as much as you do, but not everyone will. Some won't understand it, some will doubt it, and others might even try to talk you out of it. When a vision is young, it doesn't need exposure, it needs protection. It's like planting a seed. You don't throw it on the sidewalk for everyone to see. You place it deep in the soil, cover it, and nurture it in the dark where it can develop roots. Without that guarded space, the seed would dry out, be stepped on, or get eaten before it ever had the chance to grow. Your vision works the same way. It needs time to root itself in your mind and heart before it can stand on its own. Sharing your vision too soon can invite negativity that you're not yet strong enough to handle. People project their fears, insecurities, and limitations onto others all the time. They'll tell you why it won't work, why it's impossible, or why you're not capable. And if your vision isn't deeply rooted, those words can take hold and choke out your dream before it even begins. Guarding your vision also protects your energy. Talking about your plans too early can create a false sense of accomplishment. It tricks your mind into feeling like you've already achieved something just by speaking about it, which can drain the motivation you need to actually do the work. When you keep it close, you build quiet momentum. You stay focused, driven by the fire inside, not by the approval or applause of others. There's also power in surprise. When you guard your vision, you maintain control over when and how it's revealed. Instead of explaining your plans, you let your results do the talking. People won't see it coming, and when they finally do, it will be undeniable. But guarding your vision doesn't mean isolating yourself completely. It means being selective about who you share it with. Find people who can nurture it, mentors, trusted friends, or like-minded individuals who believe in you and can offer wisdom without judgment. Those are the people who will water your vision, not trample it. In the end, your vision is yours for a reason. It was given to you, not to the people around you. Protect it, nurture it, and let it grow strong in the hidden places. And when the time is right, when it's ready, it will break through the surface, fully formed and resilient, ready to face the world. Perception shapes reality. It's not always about what something truly is, but how it's seen and interpreted that determines its influence. Two people can look at the same situation and see completely different things. One sees opportunity, the other sees failure. One sees potential, the other sees a dead end. The power of perception lies in its ability to define how we interact with the world, how we see ourselves, and how others see us. It becomes the lens through which decisions are made, paths are chosen, and futures are built. The influence of perception is so strong that it can elevate or destroy, empower or limit. A person perceived as a leader often becomes one, not necessarily because they have all the skills, but because others believe in their ability to lead. On the flip side, someone who allows themselves to be seen as insignificant will often be treated that way, even if they possess immense value. People respond more to how you present yourself than who you truly are. That's why confidence often opens doors that raw talent alone cannot. But perception isn't just about how others see you, it's also about how you see yourself. Self-perception is the foundation of everything. If you see yourself as capable, worthy, and destined for greatness, you'll act in alignment with that belief. You'll take bigger risks, push through challenges, and refuse to settle. But if your perception is clouded by self-doubt and insecurity, even the greatest opportunities will feel out of reach. Your mind will find ways to confirm whatever you believe to be true about yourself, whether it empowers you or holds you back. This is why controlling your narrative is so important. If you don't shape the way people perceive you, they'll do it for you. And often, their version will be based on assumptions, stereotypes, or limited information. You have the power to influence perception by how you carry yourself, how you communicate, and how you present your vision. This isn't about pretending to be someone you're not. It's about amplifying the truth of who you are and ensuring it's seen clearly. At the same time, the influence of perception teaches us not to take everything at face value. Just because someone appears successful doesn't mean they feel fulfilled. Just because a situation looks like a failure doesn't mean it lacks purpose. Perception can be deceiving, and wisdom lies in looking beyond the surface. The key is mastering your own perception first, training your mind to see possibilities where others see obstacles, to view challenges as growth opportunities, and to recognize your own value regardless of external validation. When you shift your inner perception, the outer world begins to reflect that change. People notice your confidence, your clarity, and your purpose, and they respond accordingly. In the end, perception holds incredible influence, but it's also something you can shape. Control the lens through which you see the world and yourself, and you'll gain the power to shape not just how others perceive you, but how your reality unfolds. Mastery isn't loud. It doesn't need to announce itself or demand attention. True mastery is developed in silence, away from the spotlight, in the hidden spaces where no one is watching. It's in the early mornings, the late nights, the quiet hours where the work is done without applause or recognition. It's a process of dedication, repetition, and refinement, where skill is honed not for the sake of validation, but for the love of the craft itself. In silence, there's focus. There's no pressure to perform or impress, no distractions pulling you away from the work that matters. It's in that space that you can make mistakes without judgment, explore new ideas without fear, and push past limits without the need for immediate results. Silence becomes the incubator for growth, where potential is transformed into expertise. The power of mastering something in silence is that it builds an unshakable foundation. When the spotlight eventually comes, and it always does for those who stay consistent, you're not scrambling to prove yourself. The work has already been done. You're not relying on hype or surface level skills. You've developed depth, precision, and confidence that can only come from time spent in the quiet. Silence also protects you from external noise, the opinions, doubts, and distractions that often derail people. When you're focused on the process rather than the praise, you're free to grow at your own pace. You're not performing for approval, you're building something lasting. It's the difference between chasing quick recognition and cultivating lifelong excellence. There's also strength in being underestimated. When you master something in silence, people won't see you coming. While others are busy broadcasting their every move, you're in the background leveling up. And when your work finally speaks for itself, it speaks louder and clearer than any words ever could. Mastery in silence teaches patience. It requires you to trust the process, knowing that growth isn't always visible. Like roots growing underground, the most important developments often happen out of sight. But those roots are what make the tree strong enough to weather storms and bear fruit. In the end, the loudest voices aren't always the most skilled. It's often the quiet ones, the ones who dedicated themselves to the craft without fanfare, who create the most lasting impact. Because when you master something in silence, the results will speak for you, louder than any noise you could ever make. So understand this, true mastery doesn't need noise. It doesn't seek validation or applause. It thrives in the silence, in the hidden hours when no one is watching, where the real work is done. Because when you master something in silence, you don't just build skill, you build character, resilience, and depth. And when the time is right, your results will echo louder than any words could. The world may celebrate noise, but it will always respect mastery. So commit to the quiet grind, embrace the unseen moments, because when you emerge, you won't need to announce yourself. Your excellence will do it for you.